You're about to take part in a team discussion. This isn't just a listening exercise. You are one of the participants. At certain points, the audio will pause, and your coach will ask you to respond. Your job is to apply the principles from Core Skill 3 in real time. Here is the situation. Your team is meeting to discuss the plan to implement a new performance review process. The meeting involves your manager, James, and 3 colleagues, Sarah, Eric, and Priya. The discussion has just begun. Listen carefully and be ready when it's your turn.
Okay, so we need to figure out how we will implement this. HR wants it done before the end of the quarter, which gives us about 6 weeks. I want to hear everyone's thoughts on how we approach this.
I think the biggest challenge is going to be getting the managers to buy in. If the managers don't understand the new system, none of this will work.
Agreed. And honestly, the review process is pretty confusing. I spent an hour reading the manual last week and I still had questions.
Yes, that's definitely a concern. Priya, you haven't said anything yet. Do you have any thoughts?
I have a few ideas, but I want to hear more first.
Sure, fair enough. So, where do we start?
There is a brief pause in the discussion, and a clear question has been asked. We want to apply Principle 1. Professionals give input at the right time. Why is this a good, natural time to join the discussion? What can you say to enter the discussion with a statement that is clear, relevant, and focused on the main issue? Now let's listen to how your colleagues respond.
Good point. So it sounds like we're focusing on 2 steps: training for managers and a communication plan for staff. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes. And I think the training needs to happen first. You can't communicate a process that managers don't understand yet.
Right. And speaking of communication, that actually reminds me of something. We had a similar problem last year with the new expense system. The rollout was a disaster. Actually, the whole expense system was a problem. Even 3 months after rollout, half the managers were still using the old forms. I think we should also change that process as well.
Well, that's definitely something we could review.
The discussion is drifting. Eric has changed the subject. It's time to apply Principle 2. Professionals keep discussions focused. How can you redirect the conversation? Remember to acknowledge Eric's point, suggest going back to the main issue, and then move the conversation forward. The conversation is now back on track. Let's listen to how the discussion continues.
You're right. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
No, it's a fair point. We can put the expense system on the agenda for next week. So, back to the rollout. Sarah mentioned training first. I think that's right. How should we structure it?
I'd suggest a short briefing session for managers, maybe 30 minutes, before we communicate anything to staff.
Does anyone want to add to that?
A suggestion has been made. Sarah has made a good point, but a 30-minute briefing is just a surface response that lacks depth. It's time to apply Principle 3. A strong contribution adds depth, not just words. How can you build on Sarah's idea? Don't just agree. Add a reason, an example, or an implication that makes Sarah's idea stronger and more complete. Let's listen to see what happens next.
That's very useful. So we're building on the briefing idea. Good. Priya, you said you had some thoughts earlier. Go ahead.
Actually, yes. I think we also need to think about the staff communication carefully. If staff hear about the new process before managers are ready to answer questions, we're going to have a problem.
That's a really important point. Anyone want to respond to that?
Priya has just given good input. The group is ready to move forward. But she wasn't given a chance to really talk about the details behind her idea. And earlier, she was hesitant to join in the discussion. It's time to apply Principle 4. Knowing when to let others talk is a strength. What can you say to create space for Priya to respond before adding your own thoughts? You yielded the floor to Priya, and she was able to give more detailed and valuable input. Now let's listen as the discussion continues.
I completely agree with Priya. The sequencing matters. Managers first, then staff. And we need to set a clear date so there's no gap between the two.
Okay, so we've made a lot of progress. That's great. But we're almost out of time. I think we've got a real plan here.
The group has been productive. The discussion has reached a natural close, but James hasn't summarized. 3 decisions have been made. Manager briefing first, staff communication second, and specific dates are needed. But there is one item that hasn't been assigned. Who is responsible for the manager briefing? It's time to apply Principle 5. Professionals close with clarity, not confusion. James has not summarized. Step in and close the discussion. Use all 3 steps. Summarize what was discussed, confirm what was decided, and name the next steps, including the unresolved item. Well done. You just participated in a full professional discussion from start to finish, joining at the right moment, keeping it focused, adding real depth, creating space for others, and closing with clarity. That is core skill 3 in action. Now discuss with your coach. Which of the 5 moments felt most natural and which required the most thought?